Part 1. The beginning: accepting what you have and who you are. Every journey begins with a single truth. You are where you are. It doesn't matter how far you've fallen, how long you've been stuck, or how much you think you've wasted. What matters is this: you're still here. You are still breathing. You still have the power to begin again. So many people spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect version of themselves. They say things like, when I have more time, I'll start. When I have more money, I'll try. When I feel ready, I'll begin. But here's the truth that most people never realize. You will never feel ready. And the longer you wait for the perfect moment, the further you drift from the life you were meant to live. The secret to success, growth, and change isn't in having everything figured out. It's in starting where you are, with what you have right now. 1. The myth of the perfect starting point. We live in a world obsessed with perfection. We scroll through social media and see highlight reels, people at their best moments, their achievements, their wealth, their beauty. And somewhere deep inside, we tell ourselves, when I get there, then I'll be happy. But that's the lie. No one ever starts at there. Everyone starts at here, from a place of uncertainty, insecurity, and imperfection. Steve Jobs started in a garage. Oprah started with nothing but her voice. Every success story begins with someone who decided to make the most of what they already had. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need the courage to take the first step. Because clarity doesn't come before action, it comes from action. 2. The power of acceptance. To start where you are, you first have to accept where you are. Acceptance doesn't mean settling. It means facing your truth without judgment. It means saying, this is my reality right now, but it doesn't define my future. So many people waste their energy denying their situation, pretending they're fine, blaming others, or wishing things were different. But that energy could be used to grow, to learn, to change. You can move forward while you're still fighting the present. Accepting your situation gives you power because it grounds you in truth. You can fix what you want to face. You can change what you want to acknowledge. So, take a deep breath and be honest. Where are you right now? What are you struggling with? What do you truly want? Once you face that truth, even if it's uncomfortable, you've already taken your first real step forward. 3. Letting go of comparison. Comparison is a thief. It steals your joy, your peace, and your potential. When you look at someone else's life and think you're behind, you're measuring your beginning against their middle, and that's unfair to you. Everyone's journey moves at its own pace. Some people bloom early, some bloom late, but everyone blooms when they're ready. Remember this: you're not late. You're not behind. The only race you're running is the one against who you were yesterday. Focus on that. When you stop comparing and start creating, everything changes. Because energy that was once wasted on envy turns into momentum, and momentum builds miracles. 4. The mindset of ownership. To turn limitations into opportunities, you must first take ownership of your life. Ownership means no more excuses. No more blaming your parents, your boss, your circumstances, or your past. Because while those things may explain where you are, they don't have to decide where you go next. When you take ownership, you shift from being a victim of life to being a creator of it. You realize that life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. Every setback carries a lesson. Every challenge carries a seed of growth. And when you start asking, what can I learn from this? Instead of why is this happening to me? You transform pain into progress. That's the mindset of winners. They don't escape difficulty, they extract wisdom from it. 5. The beauty of starting small. We often underestimate the power of small beginnings. We think greatness has to start with a grand gesture, a big move, or a life-changing decision. But the truth Every great transformation begins with something small. A 5-minute walk that becomes a marathon. A page in a notebook that becomes a book. A single yes that becomes a new life path. Small steps create big shifts. When you start small, you create momentum, and momentum is what turns effort into habit, and habit into transformation. So instead of asking, how can I change everything at once? Ask, what is one small thing I can do today? It might seem insignificant now, but one day, you'll look back and realize that is where it all began. 6. The courage to begin again. Maybe you've failed before. Maybe you've tried and it didn't work out. And now, every time you think about starting again, that voice in your head whispers, what is the point? You'll just fail again. But here's what that voice doesn't understand. Failure doesn't define you. It refines you. Every time you fall and get back up, you become wiser, stronger, and more resilient. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward despite it. And that is what starting where you are really means. Having the courage to begin again. Even when it is hard. You don't need confidence to start. Starting is what builds confidence. 7. Gratitude. The foundation of growth. Gratitude shifts everything. When you focus on what you do have instead of what you lack, your mindset changes from scarcity to abundance. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means finding light even in the dark. You might not have all you want, but you have enough to begin. And that is where transformation starts. Not with perfection, but with appreciation. Every morning you wake up is another chance to build something better. Every challenge is another opportunity to prove what you're made of. Gratitude keeps you grounded. It keeps your heart open, even when life feels heavy, and that is what gives you the strength to take the next step right where you are. Part 2. Reframing limitations. Seeing challenges as hidden opportunities. Every limitation carries a lesson. Every setback hides a seed of growth. But most people never see it because they focused on the obstacle instead of what it is teaching them. The truth is, your greatest opportunities often come disguised as difficulties. What looks like an ending might actually be a beginning. What feels like failure might be the foundation of your next breakthrough. This is the mindset shift that changes everything. Life isn't happening to you, it is happening for you. When you believe that, every struggle becomes a classroom, every failure a teacher, and every limitation a guide pointing you toward your next level. 1. The hidden gift inside every obstacle. When something goes wrong, our first reaction is frustration. We ask, why me? Why now? But instead, what if you asked, what is this trying to teach me? That simple shift turns pain into perspective. Because every problem carries a purpose. When you lose something, you learn what truly matters. When you fail, you discover a better way. When people leave, you find strength in yourself. The universe rarely takes without giving something back, but you have to be willing to look deeper. Obstacles are not there to stop you. They're there to show you what is inside you. They reveal your resilience, your patience, your ability to adapt. When you stop resisting your struggles and start respecting them, they transform from burdens into blessings. 2. The power of perspective. Your perspective determines your power. Two people can face the same challenge. One breaks, the other becomes stronger. The difference isn't what they face, it is how they see it. You can view a setback as a dead end, or as a detour leading you somewhere better. You can see rejection as a sign of failure, or as redirection towards something meant for you. Your life is shaped not by what happens to you, but by what you decide to believe about it. When you train your mind to search for meaning instead of misery, everything changes. The world doesn't suddenly become easier, you become stronger. Perspective is power. And the moment you shift how you see your reality, you begin to shape your reality. 3. Turning pain into purpose. Some of the most powerful transformations come from the deepest pain. Pain forces you to grow, to confront yourself, to rebuild your life from the inside out. Think about it, some of your strongest qualities were born in hard times. Your empathy came from being hurt. Your wisdom came from your mistakes. Your courage came from fear. Nothing is wasted when you choose to learn from it. You can let your pain define you, or you can let it refine you. You can let it destroy you, or you can let it develop you. That's the difference between people who stay stuck and people who rise. The ones who rise use their pain as motivation, not misery. So whatever has hurt you, betrayed you, or disappointed you, don't carry it as a wound. Carry it as fuel. 4. The growth that comes from resistance. Growth never happens in comfort. A muscle only grows when it's challenged, when it's stretched beyond its limits. Your mind works the same way. Every struggle you face is like resistance training for your soul. It builds your endurance, your patience, and your mental toughness. If life were always easy, you'd never develop the strength needed to handle the great things waiting for you. Comfort creates weakness. Resistance creates growth. So when things get tough, remind yourself, this pressure is shaping me. This difficulty is preparing me. This moment is making me stronger than I've ever been. Don't run from the challenge. Run through it, because what's on the other side is the person you were meant to become. 5. The art of adaptability. The people who succeed are not the ones with perfect plans, they're the ones who adapt when things fall apart. Life will never go exactly as you expect. There will be twists, delays, detours, and disappointments. But adaptability turns chaos into opportunity. Instead of asking, why isn't this working? Ask, what else could work? Adaptable people don't cling to one path, they create new ones. They don't fear change, they use it. That's how you turn limitations into possibilities. You stop saying, I can because, and start saying, how can I? Every time you adapt, you prove to yourself that you're not trapped by circumstance, you're guided by creativity. 6. Breaking free from the victim mindset. One of the biggest limitations you can have isn't outside of you, it's inside your mind. It's the belief that life is unfair, that you have no control, that everything is against you. That mindset steals your power. When you see yourself as a victim, you give away your ability to change. But when you see yourself as a creator, everything shifts. You can always control what happens, but you can always control how you respond. And that choice determines whether you stay stuck or rise above. Stop saying, I can Start saying, I'll find a way. That's how you turn weakness into strength and limits into breakthroughs. 7. The lessons hidden in failure. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success. Every successful person you admire has failed repeatedly. The difference is, they didn't stop there. They used failure as feedback. Failure teaches you what doesn't work. It sharpens your strategy. It humbles your ego and builds your endurance. When you stop fearing failure, you unlock freedom because you're no longer afraid to try. Failure is not falling down. Failure is refusing to get back up. So get up, again and again. Because each time you rise, you're proving that your spirit is stronger than your circumstances. 8. Finding opportunity in uncertainty. Life rarely gives you clear answers. Sometimes, all you have is confusion and the courage to move anyway. Uncertainty is uncomfortable, but it's also fertile ground for opportunity. Because when nothing is guaranteed, everything becomes possible. When you don't know what's next, that's not a sign of failure, that's a blank canvas. Use it. Experiment. Explore. The future belongs to those who are brave enough to take imperfect action in uncertain times. Part 3. Taking action, building momentum from exactly where you stand. There's a point in every person's journey where thinking, planning, and dreaming are no longer enough. The only thing that matters is movement. Because clarity doesn't come from sitting still, it comes from stepping forward. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. You don't need to have all the answers before you begin. You just need to start here. Now. With what you have. Progress isn't about perfection. It's about motion. Even slow progress is still progress. And small steps compound into unstoppable change. 1. Action beats motivation. Everyone waits to feel motivated before they act. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. If you wait for motivation, you'll be waiting forever. The truth is action creates motivation. When you move, when you start, when you take one small step, your brain releases momentum. You start feeling the satisfaction of progress. And that feeling fuels the next step. You don't have to be great to start. But you have to start to be great. Start messy. Start imperfect. Start uncertain. Just start. Because momentum is built, not found. And once you build it, it becomes unstoppable. 2. The power of tiny wins. Big goals can be intimidating. They look too far away, too difficult, too impossible. But when you break them into smaller steps, everything changes. Tiny wins build confidence. Each small victory tells your mind, I can do this. And the more wins you stack, the more unstoppable you feel. Want to get fit? Start with 5 minutes of movement. Want to write a book? Start with 1 paragraph. Want to change your life? Start with 1 new habit today. Tiny wins may look small, but they are the seeds of massive transformation. Consistency beats intensity. It's not about doing a lot once, it's about doing a little every day. 3. The discipline of daily progress. Discipline is what keeps you moving when motivation fades. It's what separates those who dream from those who do. You won't always feel like showing up. Some days will be hard. Some days exhausting. And some days discouraging. But the discipline to keep going, that's what builds strength. The days you don't want to do it are the days it matters most. Because those are the days that shape your character. Discipline isn't punishment, it's self-respect. It's saying to yourself, I deserve to see what happens if I don't give up. Every day you show up, you prove that your goals are worth the effort. That's how ordinary people create extraordinary results, one disciplined day at a time. 4. The power of direction over speed. We live in a world obsessed with speed, fast results, instant gratification, quick fixes. But what truly matters is direction, not speed. You can run fast in the wrong direction and still end up lost. It's better to move slowly towards something meaningful than quickly toward nothing at all. Don't rush your journey. Take time to learn, to fail, to grow, to adjust. Slow progress builds strong foundations. Your path might not look like anyone else's, and that's okay. Because success isn't about who gets there first. It's about who never stops moving. 5. Overcoming the fear of imperfection. Perfectionism is the biggest killer of progress. It tells you, don't start until it's perfect. But here's the truth, perfect never comes. The greatest creators, leaders, and thinkers didn't wait to be perfect, they started imperfectly and improved through repetition. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master started as a learner. The key is to act, not overthink. To create, not hesitate. To learn as you go, not wait until you know. Your growth will come from the doing, not from the waiting. 6. How to stay consistent when you feel stuck. Everyone hits a wall. Everyone faces those days where they feel like quitting. But here's the thing. Consistency isn't about never falling, it's about always getting back up. When you feel stuck, remember, you've come further than you think. Progress doesn't always look exciting, sometimes it's quiet. Even small effort counts when it's consistent. Sometimes the best thing you can do is simply show up. Even if you don't have your best day, your best energy, or your best results, show up anyway. Because showing up builds identity. And identity builds destiny. The moment you say, I am someone who keeps going, that's who you become. 7. The power of self-trust. Taking action isn't just about doing it, it's about believing. Believing that no matter what happens, you'll figure it out. That is called self-trust. You don't need to know everything before you begin. You just need to trust yourself enough to take the next step. Because self-doubt doesn't go away, you just get louder than it. I'll figure it out is one of the most powerful sentences you can ever say to yourself. When you trust yourself, you stop waiting for certainty. You stop needing permission. You start building your own path, your own way, your own life. And that is where true confidence comes from, not from knowing, but from moving anyway. 8. The momentum loop. Momentum is the magic of progress. It is what turns effort into energy and energy into results. Here is the loop that creates unstoppable growth. Action, progress, motivation, more action. Most people get stuck waiting for motivation at the beginning of the loop. But you don't wait for it, you create it through action. Even the smallest progress can trigger the spark that keeps you going. That is why the key to transformation isn't doing everything, it is doing something every day. Momentum doesn't require perfection. It requires persistence. 9. Celebrate your progress. We live in a world that teaches us to only celebrate big wins, the graduation, the promotion, the achievement. But the truth is, the little victories matter more. Celebrate the days you didn't quit. Celebrate the times you showed up when no one noticed. Celebrate every step, no matter how small, because those steps are the bricks that build your future. Progress is a feeling, and when you appreciate it, you multiply it. Gratitude for your journey is what keeps you energized for the next chapter.
Final part, becoming unstoppable, making peace with the journey while reaching for more. By now, you've learned how to accept where you are, how to see opportunity in every obstacle, and how to take consistent action even when life feels uncertain. But there's one final truth to understand, a truth that separates those who merely start from those who truly transform. It's this: success isn't about reaching the finish line. It's about becoming the kind of person who keeps walking, no matter what, because the goal was never perfection, it was progress. The purpose was never control, it was growth, and the destination was never somewhere out there, it was within you all along. 1. The journey is the destination. We live in a world that glorifies results. We're taught to chase goals, achievements, and milestones, as if happiness waits for us at the end of the road. But here's the truth: if you don't learn to love the journey, you'll never find joy at the destination. There will always be another goal, another dream, another mountain, and if your peace depends on reaching there, you'll never truly be here. When you learn to find meaning in the process, in the work, in the lessons, in the quiet progress no one sees, that's when you become free. You stop chasing life. You start living it. You begin to realize that every challenge, every small win, every setback, it's all part of the masterpiece you're building. The journey is the reward. 2. Redefining success. Success isn't measured by how far you've gone, it's measured by how much you've grown. It's not about how many people clap for you, but how many times you've stood up for yourself when no one was watching. True success is waking up with peace in your heart, purpose in your steps, and gratitude in your soul. It's knowing that you're doing your best, becoming better, and staying true to your values, even when it's hard. You don't need to be perfect to be proud. You don't need to have everything to feel fulfilled. You just need to know that you're becoming the best version of yourself. One step, one choice, one day at a time. That's real success. 3. The power of identity. The most powerful change you can ever make isn't external, it's internal. It's not about what you do once in a while, it's about who you believe you are. When you say to yourself, "I'm the kind of person who shows up," that identity begins to shape every action you take. When you say, "I'm someone who learns, adapts, and grows," your failures lose their power to define you. You stop forcing change and start embodying it, because who you believe you are will always guide how you behave. So stop saying, "I'm trying to be better." Start saying, "I'm becoming stronger." Identity drives destiny, and when you decide who you are, the world starts to align with that decision. Final words: you don't have to wait for a sign. You don't have to have it all figured out, you just have to start. Start where you are, with your fears, your doubts, your dreams, and your heart. The path will appear as you walk it, the strength will grow as you need it, the opportunities will show when you're ready for them. So breathe in courage, breathe out fear, and take that first small, powerful step. Because the life you dream of isn't waiting at some distant destination. It begins right here, right now, where you are.